The joint American-Israeli attack on Iran is now approaching a week in length, and as the time goes on, I think it is pretty evident that the war will be a failure. The regime in Iran may have been bruised, but the IRGC stands strong, and as long as there is an IRGC, the regime will stand tall because they will defeat any protest movement which tries to overthrow the government, especially during a wartime, because during a war, shooting a bunch of protesters, as America has done in Pakistan just during this wartime, is justified because they're a threat to national security. For example, those protesters could have overrun that embassy in Pakistan. As such, America was actually justified in killing those protesters because it's a war, and just as America was justified in doing that to the people of Iran, will be more sympathetic to the regime doing that. As such, any uprising against the government must be an armed uprising to face off with the superior firepower of the regime, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think, yeah, I think there hasn't been enough pre operations and stuff. Of course, Israel had those successful attack on air defenses last time. They had like a whole army of spies in the country, which did grand operations, and I think if they hadn't have wasted that potential and they had waited longer to this war, then maybe they could have done organized resistance operations against the regime, funded insurgency, but there was no ground infrastructure to do uprising against the regime. As such, the regime has survived. It will survive. And apparently Donald Trump's planning to get the Kurdistanis to launch a grand invasion of Iran, and I think that is a good decision in terms of trying to overthrow the regime, but realistically, here's how I would have done it. I would have funded the Azeris. So, like, the Azeris, a lot of Azeris live in northern Iran, and if the Azeris were an Azerbaijanis, an expansionist state, so if you promise the northern Iran to Azerbaijan in exchange for help, Azerbaijan could launch a grand invasion. Then you got the Kurdistani uprising. Then you got like the Baluchis, fund the rebels insurgents in Baluchistan, and build a network of anti-regime insurgents in Iran. Then I think more progress could have been made, but as it stands currently, it's just an air war against Iran. There is no ground component, no infantry component. That means it is going to fail. Therefore, the only thing America can do is bomb. And bombing can only destroy. It cannot build a rival force to the regime. Only just kill a bunch of people. As such, that is why America will not win this war. But not winning and losing are separate things. So why will America lose? Well, apparently they've recently had a THAAD radar and they're considering moving assets from Asia to the Middle East. And yeah, so like considering that the Fed radar got destroyed, it's possible that if the Americans move assets to the Middle East, that too could get destroyed. But that's not that important. What's more important is the ammunition usage. America is using lots and lots of ammunition, and America's allies in the Gulf are using lots and lots of ammunition, and then what Donald Trump, he isn't the generous type. He's not going to look at what the America's allies in the Gulf have done for America. Kuwait's lost many soldiers and stuff. They've used their air defenses, and they're doing a good job defending the Americans in America in that region. But what Donald Trump's going to do is he's going to charge full price for the Gulf states to restock their air defenses and stuff. And I think that will leave a bitter taste in the mouth of the Gulf states. And I think considering that the Straits of Hormuz are going to get closed, that also means that they can't export oil. So this war is going to go on for months, and the Gulf states are going to have no revenue. They can't operate airliners, so they're cut off. So it's just a terrible situation for the thing, and that's why the Gulf states want peace. They want this war to end quickly, but I think it'll go on for a long time. So the idea is that America is supposed to protect them, but now America's brought on the worst case scenario, which is warfare, shutting down their economy. So I think they will want an out from the American alliance, and I think if China's building up their navy yet, China relies on oil from the Gulf states, so maybe China, if they were smart, they could offer their hand to the Gulf states, saying we will host naval bases in the Gulf region and stuff to like get that oil out and protect it, and that so pretty much I think this war is going to shift the Gulf states away from America, and I think as a result America will lose influence in the Gulf over oil and stuff, and I think America will lose friends in the Middle East so that's why I think America is going to work, because they're going to expend a lot of their reserves of air defenses, which is expensive. This war's costing a lot of money, not necessarily in terms of lives, but in terms of equipment. For example, in the UAE, apparently their embassy just got attacked and is on fire, which is disastrous. All their infrastructure getting destroyed, and there's no sign that Iran is going to stop anytime soon. As such, I think that America has made a mistake in launching this war. It was a terrible mistake, and it was done for personal reasons. Iran wasn't going to get a bomb. Iran wasn't going to get a bomb. Like, this wasn't about nuclear program. If you look at what the Israelis say, even the Israelis weren't saying that Iran's going to get a nuclear bomb. This is like purely ego-driven. Trump wanted a big victory for the 250th anniversary of America. Instead, America's going to be humiliated, losing a war to Iran. I think America will do a lot of damage to the Iranian regime, but I think the regime will survive. So, also, Saudi Arabia seems to be faring better than the other Gulf states like UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait. As such, I think the Saudis will remain Trump allies. So yeah, don't have much more to say except that is all.